Yeah. So I've heard a lot about instant booking being critical to driving growth as far as for other marketplaces such as like Airbnb. When did you guys introduce that, and what did you see as far as the increase in bookings?
Yeah, I think we introduced it a little over a year ago, and so it's been around for a bit.
Mhm.
I think at VRBO it had existed for quite a while when I joined. I think across the board, every place I've been and a lot of friends I've chatted with, instant booking or instant buying or whatever the option is, there's different flavors for every type of marketplace. Um, the result is almost always the same, which is there's more cancellations or people are trying to get out of the transaction more frequently. Sometimes it'll be owners who find it's a great lead opportunity. This was one thing at Verbo. A lot of owners would opt into Instant Book because it's a great lever to pull. You know, people love it, so you get more bookings. But then they were still selective, and they would cancel bookings.
Mhm.
Um, so that's one thing that you see. You also see a lot of bookers cancel across the board. I think that's the feedback I've gotten. So a lot of people will book and then cancel. They accidentally booked sometimes, or they didn't understand the implications. I think across the board, though, everyone I've chatted with, it's always the same thing. The number of cancellations net out. So it's instant book is still a positive feature. So even though you're getting cancellation, even though there's churn, overall it's neutralized because you're just getting more volume through in the first place. So I think that's probably the main feature. A lot of companies, if you look at like Airbnb and Vrbo, they have a Premier Partner or whatever, these premium tiers where you have to set a certain satisfy a certain number of requirements. So you agree to have a certain response rate, you agree to have a certain cancellation rate, and those are checks and balances on the instant book feature for the most part.
Yeah.
So most of the time, these companies will institute those programs so that if you want to be an instant book listing, you have to ensure that your cancellation rate doesn't get above a certain limit. So it kind of prevents some of these bad actors things, which also helps with the net effect being positive for the business.
Yeah. So do you guys have like the checks and balance in place too? I'm assuming on that for the supply.
Yeah, we definitely do. I think most people do that have the instant book features on.
Yeah. How common is it? Was that something that you had to heavily message when you introduced that, or?
Yeah, I think it's something that we had to sell a bit. I think again, a lot of owners, so suppliers in travel marketplaces and probably higher AOV marketplaces have an expensive asset. And so they're more selective with how people rent it or who they're selling to or whatever. And so I think overall people are a little bit skeptical over instant booking or instant selling options because they're just a little uncertain about who the quality of the lead is going to be and if it's going to fall through and everything.
Mhm.
So I think there's definitely, you have to be a little bit cautious with how you message it, how you sell it, and then you definitely have to have some checks and balances in place to make sure that the leads that are coming through overall are still positive and qualified, and they're not just getting a bunch of garbage, because that's a great way to start implementing supply churn.